Martin, welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
You now work for large organisations, helping them to avoid cybercrime.
That's right.
How do you do that?
Well, I hack into the company's computer systems and then try to access the secret in-company stuff, their financial records, customer database, things like that. Then I tell them how I did it and what they need to do to improve their security. They then implement those changes and I try to hack in again, and so it goes on until they're secure.
Why do people become cyber hackers?
Well, speaking for myself, it was the challenge. I suppose I spent too much time alone in front of a computer when I was a teenager.
I see. So tell me about your life before this, your life of cybercrime. When did it all start?
Well, the first time I succeeded in hacking into a site was when I was 14.
What did you hack into?
I'm a bit embarrassed to admit this, but I hacked into the computer system at my school.
Why did you do that?
Frankly, because I wanted to change the grades in my end-of-year exams.
Did you manage to do it?
I'm not telling you.
Tell me about the crime for which you were eventually convicted.
Well, I was 17 at the time, and I read an article about a large pharmaceutical firm who were marketing a new drug. The article said there was some confusion about the results of a trial, so I decided to see if I could hack into the site and find something out.
And did you find anything out?
Yes. Astonishingly, I discovered some email correspondence between two of the directors of the company that gave the impression that they were planning to cover up the results of the trial and start again. So I downloaded the correspondence and sent it to a national newspaper.
Did you ask the newspaper for money?
No, I just thought it was in the public interest.
And what happened?
The newspaper gave what I sent them to the police. Honestly, the next day I was arrested and taken for questioning.
And eventually you were sent to prison?
Yes, for 6 months.
How long did you actually spend behind bars?
About 2.5 months.
So in those days, did you make any money from hacking?
No, absolutely not. I just did it for kicks.
So what happened when you came out of prison?
Well, I was reading an online magazine for hackers, and I read an article about an American company that had spent $1.5 million on computer security and had been hacked almost immediately. It seems they had chosen a really useless piece of security software. So I wrote and offered to test their new security to see if it was any better.
What was their reaction?
Well, at first they thought I was a really clever hacker, but eventually they believed me. They sent someone to meet me, and they asked me to show them how I could test their new security.
Did you have to work hard to do that?
No, I hardly broke a sweat.
And then what?
They gave me a contract, and I signed a document promising that I would show them everything that I found, or face another trip to prison.
And did they trust you to do that?
Eventually, yes.
So now you make a living as a white hat hacker.
Correct.
Why are people like you called white hat hackers?
I suppose it goes back to old-fashioned Western movies, where the good guys always wore white hats and the bad guys always wore black hats. So, criminal hackers are referred to as black hat hackers. Strictly speaking, as a former criminal hacker, I should be referred to as a grey hat hacker.
And you also tour the country talking to people about individual safety. What sort of people do you talk to?
Yeah, I mainly talk to teenagers in schools. Generally speaking, they're pretty savvy about cybercrime, and some of them are probably doing a bit of harmless hacking already.
What kind of advice do you give them?
Well, I start by warning them about the kind of attacks to look out for on their computers. I mean, there are some crazy people out there who just want to wreck people's computers and make them lose everything. I just don't get that. I think it's stupid and also pointless. But the problem is that it happens. I also talk about the kind of scams they might face when they get a little older, particularly when they have a credit card.
What kind of scams?
Well, some of them are pretty obvious, so it's amazing to me that anyone is taken in by them. But some people are incredibly gullible. You know the kind of thing I'm talking about. You get an email telling you there's a problem with your email account and asking you to give information to what looks like the homepage of your email server. Everyone knows about that one.
I didn't.
Well, you do now. And there are the ones that seem to have really interesting attachments which you feel tempted to open, and all that happens is you import some really nasty malware. That's the quickest way to lose everything on your computer.
I see.
The ones that most people fall for are the easiest ones to spot. The emails that tell you you've won a prize, or that you can share millions of dollars that the widow of some industrialist has. All you have to do is supply your bank account.
Do people still fall for that one?
Apparently they do. That's why everyone has to know about scams and other dangerous stuff that can ruin your computer and possibly drain your bank account.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome.
And now to the newsroom for the latest with Sunette.